What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the Wise Take MLB DFS Wise Stream. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I, of course, am from the Wise Take Nation, which you can find on all the social media platforms listed above, or directly at wisetake.com if you're looking to take a DFS game to the next level. Here we are. It's been a while since we had a baseball stream. We've already said we're only going to cover slates that are 4 games or more as far as the streams go, but I do provide articles as well on those slates. There's an article at wisetake.com where I'm a little more concentrated with my thoughts. And we will continue to provide projections and cheat sheets, stack rankings for 2-game slates or higher. So still a pretty good amount of baseball left, I'd say. But this is probably the last week, I would think, being that the teams are playing every day, that we'll probably have this many games. So looking forward to it. Baseball's been really good to us this year. Really, really good. Good to me. Good to the nation. Good to everyone. We have a little uncertainty starting off with the Mike Clevenger San Diego Padres situation. We're not sure who is going to be starting for the Padres. They haven't said it yet. From what I've seen, it seems like Clevenger is the one that I think most people are expecting. The problem is he hasn't pitched in a while. So he's coming off an injury is the reason he hasn't pitched so far. So we'll talk about him when we dive into it. Appreciate those of you who are grinding out the MLB playoffs with us. Shout out to Diego in the chat. Says CK, what's good, brother? Glad you're back for baseball. Yeah, man. Good to see you, Diego. Appreciate you joining us, showing some support. Please hit the like button if you guys haven't already. The likes go a long way, really help us out and allow us to continue doing that dirty on that YouTube, which is something that we like to do. So make sure you hit the like button. And subscribe to the channel. Later today, we'll have the NFL DFS First Look show for Week 5. Myself, Patio Joe. It'll be probably around like 11:30 or so. And we'll be announcing this week's giveaway. Last week we gave away $50. We'll see what we give away today. But we'll have to take a wait and see approach. I see Wig already with a question. No Davies, huh? So that depends. Yeah, we don't know for sure. I think they're in between Davies. They want it to be Clevenger. I think it's a matter of if they think he's healthy enough to pitch, which we'll get into that when we go in there. But Davies could end up pitching. So I'm kind of torn. If you go to MLB Probables, the Padres just haven't announced it yet. But we'll discuss the scenarios. Either way, appreciate the question, Wig. With that said, we'll go ahead and get started. We'll go through all these pitchers, starting with Mike Clevenger. Go figure. So I'll read you guys the note on Clev, which you guys can see for yourself if need be. So Clevenger is in contention to start Game 1 of the NLDS against the Dodgers on Tuesday. I saw another beat writer today said that Clevenger seems to be the one they want. The issue is Clevenger has not pitched since September 23rd, and in that game he only threw 1 inning, 12 pitches, and that was on 10 days rest because he apparently wasn't feeling too great after his really good game against the Giants. So we don't know. If you think about it, it's almost a month where he hasn't thrown more than 12 pitches. So even if he does play, you have to wonder what kind of pitch count he's going to be on. You have to wonder if that's going into consideration with the Padres when making this decision. Padres bullpen was really good. It was, I think, top 5 in baseball and xFIP. And they very well could just use Davies or somebody like that, in relief, although I would suspect they would try to just save that person for the next day. So Clevenger on DraftKings and FanDuel, to be honest, it's hard to, number one, the matchup is tough, right? Like, the park is great. This game is in Globe Life Park. Remember, none of these home teams are actually in their home parks. So this game is in Globe Life Park, which we know is, which has been very pitcher friendly. However, when the roof has been open, we've seen certain teams put up a lot of runs. Now, we don't know for sure if they're going to open the roof. I think it's going to be somewhere around 80 degrees. So maybe they do. And that could make the offenses more interesting in this game. I think the Dodgers are an interesting stack regardless, because whether it's Clevenger, who has struggled a little bit more to lefties, I don't want to say he's struggled, make it seem like he has not good, but the walk rate increases from 6.8 to righties to 10% to lefties. The WOBA from 290 to righties to 322 to lefties. So there is an issue there. The Dodgers have a lot of really good lefties. Clev's xFIP has been up this year, 4.18 higher than we're accustomed to with him, what we saw with the Indians for most of his career so far. And even on FanDuel at 8.5, I'm still nervous because, again, like, you at least want that quality start. And we don't know if he's going to be on some kind of pitch count. We don't even know if he's pitching. So a lot of question marks regarding that. Either way, I think the Dodgers, if it's Davies, I'd have no problem stacking the Dodgers. I'm sorry, I just don't think Davies is any good. So I'd have no issue stacking the Dodgers. If it's Clev, I still like the Dodgers. But again, the Padres bullpen's been good. I think Clev is a little bit more challenging, although I do think Clev may be a little more homer prone to lefties, while Davies more reverse splits. So more on the Dodger offense regardless. Either way. Glass now is one of the more polarizing situations, right? So he's obviously very expensive. He's got massive upside, highest strikeout rate on the slate, highest swinging strike rate on the slate. He's been really good. He does also have the highest walk rate on the slate, though. And oddly enough, that walk rate increases against righties from 7.9% to lefties to 10.5% to righties. So his WOBA is higher to righties, so he's had reverse splits. The problem with that is the Yankees are very right-handed, and they're a very good team. I expect Glasnow to be very popular today. And I'm going to have a good amount. He's got, I think, the highest ceiling in terms of strikeout upside. This game, I think, is in Petco Park, in San Diego. So I think getting exposure to Glasnow is fine. I think I want to be somewhere between 30 and 40%. He's not the pitcher I'll have the most of. But I do think I want a pretty good amount of Yankee stacks, because I think the Yankees may go low owned. This guy's showing reverse splits. The Yankees have really good numbers against righties this year. So again, one of the more polarizing spots on the slate. I think if the Yankees don't do well, Glasnow is probably your, top tier pitcher on the day, right? Even at his price because of all the strikeout upside. If Glasnow does not do well and he's not in winning lineups, then you got to think that maybe the low owned Yankees, who I think they will be low owned because of the popularity of Glasnow, but kind of ridiculous. Like, they're putting up runs. Like, the amount of runs they're putting up in this postseason is kind of crazy to think that you could even get them at somewhat low ownership. So, again, definitely interested. And I realized yesterday that they weren't starting off like smashing. They haven't really been good against lefties this year, though. I don't know why, but they haven't been. So yeah, I'll have Glasnow, but I'm gonna make sure to have a pretty good amount of Yankee stacks. Framber's probably my favorite pitcher. There's a lot of elite and a lot of mediocre mixed in with Framber. Ground ball rate is elite, 60-something% ground ball rate. Strikeout rate, I don't want to call it mediocre, but it's okay, 26.4. Swinging strike rate, mediocre, 10%. But the ground balls have been really good. Now, he's playing an A's team that does try to hit the ball in the air, but also playing an A's team that hasn't been so great against lefties, 8th in strikeouts this year against lefties. This game is in Dodger Stadium, which is a little worrisome. Yesterday, the ball was flying out of Dodger Stadium. We know it's warmer. It's like they're going through like a heat wave kind of deal over there. It's been hot. But I do like Framber against the A's. You can see innings pitched per game. Framber's averaging around 6.4. Even in their first playoff game, he came in relief and just kind of pitched the rest of the game and still put up 22 DraftKings points, which on this slate could be the high raw points just because of how the playoffs are, with so many pitchers having short leashes. So I like Framber. When I looked at ownership projections, I was surprised to see that he wasn't that high in projected ownership, which I'm cool with, and I'll take it, but I was surprised, to say the least. So he's my favorite pitcher on the slate. Ground ball rates, everything, all these things that are important. And not to mention, Houston's probably the second worst bullpen on this slate. So, and they know that, right? That's why Framber pitched in relief that first game. They're worried. So I think that if Framber's on, they're more likely to let him go. Walker Buehler, a phenomenal upside. Walker Buehler has not thrown more than 73 pitches, which is what he threw in his last outing in the playoffs in a while. He was kind of cruising, looked good. He had the blister issue, had some time off, and then when he came back, they've been keeping him on this 60 to 70 pitch count. Maybe they elevated today. It's not the easiest of matchups against the Padres, who were one of the best offenses in the game. But Buehler's got nasty stuff, and we know that. He's worked hard to reduce his xFIP down to 3.93. Remember, he didn't start off looking like Walker Buehler, right? He went through a little rough patch, and then he kind of corrected himself lately. He's been looked really good lately. So I'll have some exposure, but unfortunately, until I know that he's going to pitch more than 70-something pitches, and the Dodgers have always trusted their bullpen, similar to the Yankees. I'm a little reluctant to play him too much, but I'll say the upside is certainly there. I think that considering how good he is, the ownership, you could argue, probably going to come in too low. I mean, I'm seeing him around 33%. It's the price on DraftKings. I see him as the second highest owned pitcher. I'm sorry, the third highest owned pitcher. And it's the price. I understand that because you don't necessarily need him on DraftKings to do all those things. On FanDuel, you kind of do. So I think he'll be lower owned on FanDuel because if the guy's not in contention for the quality start, that's going to hurt you off the gate. So maybe over there we see the ownership drop a little bit. But on DraftKings, I do expect his ownership to be that high because of his price. And I'll certainly have some. He's looked great. Max Fried, this is one of the stands that I was kind of taking on the slate. He's projecting to be the chalk on DraftKings, the highest owned pitcher on DraftKings because of his price, opponent. I understand all that. Fried's got a 4.05 xFIP. Strikeout rate 22.3, which to me is mediocre. The swinging strike rate indicates that maybe that number should be a little higher, but is what it is. He's playing Miami. Again, one of the stands I'm taking, I'm going underweight on Fried, like really underweight. And I'm going heavier, I should say, on Miami stacks. Now, there's a scenario where neither work out. But I like Miami's chances. Miami's got like the 8th, or they're tied for the 7th highest ISO against lefties this season, which it's not like massive, but it's still relative to the rest of the league. Fried has not looked all that great, in my opinion, lately. And to be honest, a lot of it has to do with game theory, right? If you actually look at some of the numbers, see if I can pull them up real quick. Some of the numbers for Miami individually against lefties. Aguilar has a 245 WOBA, ISO, 245 ISO, 403 WOBA. Garrett Cooper has a 425 ISO, a 470 WOBA. Rojas, 389 ISO, 580 WOBA. And then you look at the strikeout rates. Really not that bad. Miguel Rojas has a 2.8% strikeout rate against righties. So that was enough justification for me, along with the ownership that had a lot to do with it. You see players. I mean, honestly, I wasn't that big on. I'm just never really that big on Fried and DFS because of the strikeout rate. And Miami hasn't been so bad to lefties. So I'm going to take some shots. This game is in Minute Maid Park, which is Houston's park, so it's not as big as Miami's home park. And I'm willing to take a shot. So that'll be one of the stands I take. Alcantara should be very low owned. And for good reason. I expect the Braves to be pretty popular. They have one of the higher run totals on the slate. They're one of the best offenses in the game, especially in the National League. And they've been just tearing it up with home runs, man. Ozuna's been on a rampage in his contract year. Freddie Freeman is being Freddie Freeman. And they did get Albies and Acuna and all these guys. They're all playing together, all healthy, right? With that said, they are pretty right-handed. And I think that's going to provide us with some leverage opportunity. You can see this. The splits are pretty drastic for Alcantara. Not even in terms of his strikeouts, but specifically what he's done. A 13.3% walk rate to lefties, a 4.5 to righties. His strikeout to walk ratio goes from 1.82 to lefties to 4.75 to righties. 369 WOBA to lefties, 215 to righties. So it's all around. He's just better against righties. And he's coming off 2 good outings, right, against the Yankees, who are a tough opponent. I forget the other one. But the Yankees is a pretty tough one, right? Really cheap on DraftKings. Again, I think he's going to have very little ownership, especially because I think most who would consider playing in its price range would just go to Deivi Garcia. So he's like close enough to Fried, close enough to Deivi Garcia, and I just don't think anyone's going to play him. So I think another potential leverage spot, not one that I feel all that great about. I'll say this, Miami's bullpen is the worst by far on the slate. So if Alcantara's on, I think they'll kind of let him ride and let him do his thing. With that said, again, I'm not trying to discourage anyone. I think Freddie Freeman's a phenomenal play today as a one-off. But I'm not going to have a ton of Brave stacks. I'll have some because I'm doing a lot of teams, so I'll have some. But I think I'm going to have a higher stand on Alcantara just because I think the risk versus reward is a little bit better. So while if the Braves go nuts, they're going to be popular, so the chances of me having the right combination are a little less. Whereas if Alcantara at very low ownership is with the right move and he goes out there and balls out, I'll have a significant edge on the field. So It's a risk versus reward, really. So I'll definitely have some Alcantara, but again, gonna have some Brave stacks. Devi Garcia, I do like more so on DraftKings. On FanDuel, I'm okay with it, but remember, the Yankees really trust their bullpen, so there's no lock that he's going to do what he does. Now, the Rays are the 4th in strikeouts to righties, so they strike out a ton this year, which is definitely great for Garcia. The only issue or pause for concern is Garcia has not been very strikeout heavy against lefties. You can see a 27.8% strikeout rate to righties, but a 16.4% to lefties. Tampa's going to throw a lot of lefties at him. I don't think they've released their lineup yet, but they should have at least 4 of them in there at least. So that worries me a little bit with strikeout upside. You can also see his xFIP 4.63 is actually the highest on the slate. So I'll have some exposure to Debbie. The upside's there. The Rays strike out a ton. It's weird with Garcia. So he strikes out more righties, yet his WOBA is significantly worse to righties. He has a hard time striking out lefties, but his WOBA is really low to lefties. Very weird. You don't really know what to call him. But he's a rookie. He's got good stuff. I'll have a decent amount, probably the same amount that I'll have of Alcantara. And again, a lot of that has to do with ownership too, right? Like they've got him and Alcantara. I'm looking. I'm assuming will be like 20% or less because of how much Freedy's going to be owned, Buehler, Glasnow, and then the Frambers and whatnots. With that said, I do like the Rays stack a little bit. So the Rays are a stack that I actually like a little bit. So I'll have Garcia, but like I'll have more Rays than Braves. I think it just pays off more. If again I'm right. And I think there's something to all the lefties. The Yankees went out there, put up 9 runs yesterday because of a grand slam from Stanton and what have you. And I think the Rays will show some fight. But again, like I said, a lot of polarizing spots on this slate, man. A whole lot of polarizing spots, you know. Wig just says, shout out to Wig. Wig says, wait, Clevenger just confirmed. John Morosi tweet. Okay, so I guess Clevenger is confirmed as the pitcher. So that stands. Tony A says the Oakland lineup is out. And we'll keep it rolling to the last pitcher, and then we'll kind of hang out and discuss some stuff. We've got some time. Moving on to Minaya. I'm just not a Minaya guy. Now, I realize, and I want to be stubborn and steer everybody wrong. I realize he's been better lately. xFIP down to 3.77. Strikeout rate, 20.3. Swinging strike rate, 9.6. He's got the lowest strikeout stuff on the slate. The weakest strikeout shit on the slate. And he's playing a Houston team that I think, while they're not cheating at the time, is very capable of hitting him. Some of these guys have hit him before. Bregman's got 3 home runs off him. So as much as I hate to say that I like the Astros, I like the Astros. Oakland's bullpen's been pretty good, but I'm always a little skeptical of guys that have like major pitcher-friendly parks as their home parks and what their true numbers are. But it has been good this year. Yesterday, not so much when I needed it to come through. Hard contact rates, you can see with Minaya. 39.3%. Hard contact rate last 40%. So he just gives up a lot of hard contact. Believe it or not, it looks like Buehler has the highest home run percentage, by the way. Maybe you guys can't see this. 4.76. Buehler has the highest. Glasnow the second highest. That's kind of interesting. That'll make you think, won't it? And then Framber, 60% ground ball rate, highest ground ball percentage, though his hard contact rate has been up lately. Just doesn't give up a lot of home runs. Clevin third. Look at Devi Garcia, 4.11. Gives up a lot of homers. But remember, he plays in Yankee Stadium a lot of the time. So I lean towards Houston. I'm not going to have much Minaya. That's the truth. That's the situation. So that covers all the pitching. Again, very polarizing spots. The playoffs, I really think there's an edge to MME in the playoffs. There's just, on these smaller slates, there's just less bases to cover. There's enough options for people to make mistakes and do things like that, but there's not too many options to where it makes it difficult for you to make those decisions, right? Like the stacks I really like can be somewhere between 15 to 20%. The stacks I don't really like, and real quick, I don't know whoever picked this up on the last baseball streams we've done. During the regular season, I always do 5-3s pretty much. And it's because I'm just looking for 2 teams that do well. In the playoffs, because they're so quick to pull the bullpens and a lot of times you got low-scoring games, I like to do the 5-1-1-1 approach. On FanDuel, it'd be the 4-1-1-1. But yeah, so I like to have one team that it's fully stacked. And then I'll work in some one-offs along the way as we do that. I like to do that. But it's a pretty interesting slate. Like I said, I think that while Glass now has the highest upside, I also think the Yankees have the highest upside on the other side. So a lot of polarizing spots we talked about, right? The Padres and the Dodgers, those are two of the best offenses in the game. Granted, we have two pretty good pitchers going at it, but two of the best offenses in the game. These are all things to consider. It does look like Houston's gaining traction as far as ownership goes. It's like Houston is. But anyway, guys, if I don't see any questions, I think we will, do that dirty later and try to make some money on this MLB slate. We've got a, NFL First Look show tonight, 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Myself, Patio Joe, will be announcing our giveaway for the week, so make sure you stay tuned for that during the show and help us attack Week 5. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Much appreciated. Subscribe to the channel. Don't miss out on any of the free content we do. We got more coming. A lot of football shit coming, as always. And I think we'll be back at it tomorrow, right? Oh, look at this. Tejas? Man, I forgot how to say it. My bad, bro. We went through it. It took me all KBO to learn to learn it, man. Good to see you, though, man. Good to see you on the YouTube chat, man. Tejas? Shit. Diego, thanks, CK. Let's do dirties. Good luck, bro. Appreciate it, man. Good luck to you, too, Diego. Week 3 stacks better as 2 to 3 man. I don't mind 2 and 3 man stacks by any means. Like the Braves are a team that like I may be underweight in them as a full stack, but I'm cool with the. I still like a couple hitters. Like I like Freddie Freeman a ton. I like Acuna and Albies. So I'm not saying that I'm gonna have full 5-man stacks. I just like. Normally, I'd immediately go 5-3, and in this instance, I'm okay with working in the one-offs, working in the 2-man stacks, and still 3-man stacks. But I will have 1 5-man stack. I still want correlation if it's there, and if it's baseball, it's gonna be there. You know what I mean? Tejas says, "Yeah, man, I'm a basketball DFS guy, so I'm waiting for that to start." Oh, we had a great basketball year this year, man. Let me be honest, during the bubble, I didn't do so great when the bubble action happened, but the first half of the season, last season too, like just smash city, man. Phenomenal basketball season. So looking forward to, I'm definitely looking forward to, for basketball to start. Definitely. I don't really want to bet on the finals. Yeah, man, the finals are tough, man. You got really sharp lines. The injury situation makes things difficult, really messes things up. And it's not like there's no home court field. They're in a bubble still. So it's definitely got a weird vibe, but it's still the finals. It was entertaining. But yeah, basketball DFS, I can't wait for it to start back up. And as a Knicks fan, I'll say it again, I'm extremely excited because we got Tom Thibodeau as the coach. No, this does not mean I think the Knicks are going to be good. But I think they'll be fantasy relevant because we know Tibbs likes to play his guys 40 minutes a game. I'm excited about that. But all right, Nation, I'm going to get up out of here. Appreciate those of you hanging out with me. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Catch the NFL show later. For myself, the entire White Tech Nation, as always, good luck.